Hi, it's Captain Confidence. How are you today? I hope you're feeling even more confident. Fantastic. I'm just working on the height. I haven't got a real big team right here at the moment. Today, I want to talk about self-sabotage. What we do when we are presented with an opportunity and we want it, but we don't believe in ourselves, and our brain comes to the fore and talks us out of it, and we slink away feeling really bad. We're going to get to that in a moment. But first, I'd like to start off with a story. And that story is, I was married for 20 years and had 4 children, and I hadn't been near another woman, say, for 23 years. So when we got divorced, for the first time in my life, I realised that I needed to work on myself. There was things that I needed to sharpen up, in my game plan for love. If I was going to, because the pain breaking up was so intense. So first time I didn't go looking for a woman straight away. In fact, it was probably 2 years, almost anyway, before I actually went looking for a woman. And I met this magnificent girl. Oh dear, she got my heart pounding. There was sparks flying to and fro. And I thought, oh dear, this girl's got me for sure. I thought I could see myself going places with this girl. I could see us really gelling. Anyway, so I'm going to go and ask her out. Around I go, and I'm all fired up and I'm ready to go. I'm going to ask this beautiful woman out. She had a lovely personality, she was intelligent, great sense of humour. So we go around and knock knock. Hello, come on in. Would you like a cup of tea? Well, yes, thank you. While she's making the cup of tea, I'm rehearsing in my mind, what am I going to say? And she comes out, and then I talk about every other topic in the world except, would you like to come out with me? I would love to take you out. And I went home disappointed, really let down with myself because I didn't step up. I was so dejected. Anyway, eventually I came around again and I think, nah, this is it. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to ask this girl out. Round I go. Knock, knock. Oh, great to see you. Come on in. Thank you. Would you like a cup of tea? Well, thank you very much. So, there, and I'm psyched up. I'm rehearsing in my mind again what I'm going to say. As soon as she gets back with this cup of tea and sits down, get the small talk out of the way, and I'm, bam, going in. Anyway, same old deal. How's your dog? Oh, how long you had your pool? Gee, your garden looks fantastic. Probably do with a bit of mulch over there. Or every other thing again, same deal. Wouldn't stand up and do it. Slink back home, feeling even worse. And then, righto, I couldn't take it anymore. And this is the only time it works. This is the point you've got to get to, because when the pain of missing out on the pleasure that you perceive you're going to have, the pleasure has to get greater than the pain you've got to go through. That's what you've got to convince your brain of. So I go around this day, and this time I am going for it. I'm going through with this. And I stepped up and I asked her out. And guess what she said? She said no. You know what? How did I feel? Was I dejected? No, not at all. Did I feel rejected? Not at all. I was elated, but there was such a sense of relief. And you know what? I actually felt great because I had stepped up and I had asked her. And she said no, but you know what? That pressure, that fear of doing it, I overcame that. So from then on, asking a woman out, man, there was nothing to it. And that is the point that you have to get through too. And as it turned out, you know, I got off very lightly because, as I said, she was some woman, and she had a trail of destruction after her because there was always men queuing up for her. So I got off lightly, but thank you anyway, because we always learn something. And I learned then, man, if you want something, stand up and go for it. So, but when we're suffering from in our self-sabotage, what we have to do is we have to use the sabotage eliminator. And that is, there's a few steps to it. Step number one is you have to identify the pattern that you are doing when you sabotage yourself. And we'll just stay on the lady theme because that'll just be easier. I won't have to flip from one to the other and stuff like that. So, identify the pattern. My pattern was I'd get in there, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't have the self-belief to go through. I stopped believing in myself, and when you do that, you're thinking negative, and you're sorry, I've got a fly eating me, and your self-esteem spirals down. Your belief just disappears, and unless you're confident, nothing happens, and that's what happened. Nothing happens. So identify the pattern that you do. Just say you go up to talk to this beautiful girl, and you're gonna make yourself known and ask her some stuff and get a bit of rapport going, see if you can get a bit of connection going. So, but what do? Your pattern is you go up, you're going to go, there she is, and you go over and you see her, and when you get over there or on the way over there, you start choking up. You've been rehearsing in your head what you're going to say, and you can't quite remember, and then you panic, and it all goes pear, and you don't ask her, or if you do, your confidence was way down too low. And a man who doesn't have certainty is not attractive to a woman. So, again, you'll let yourself down. So when you know that pattern, you know what you can do. And what happens in the sabotage theme is your brain is here. You are going to ask yourself, where is the secondary gain here? What is the positive intention of me not going through with this? Why am I sabotaging myself? What is the positive intention? Because to every negative action there is always a positive intention. And if we just knowing what I know about fear of rejection, that is most likely what is going on here. My brain is going to keep me safe. My brain says, oh Rob, you've just been through some trauma. Gee whiz, do you remember the last time you got really interested in a girl? And gee, no, don't do it, Rob, don't do it. And that's what happens. So we have to overpower our brain. We have to overpower our brain and convince our brain to work for us for what we want. And we have to tell it that, you know, we have to go through a bit of pain, but the pleasure that I am going to feel when I am in that relationship, that's why I need to go through that, because I need to feel pleasure. And to convince your brain of that, it's good to come up with a list of pleasure and pain. All the pain of the pleasure that you are going to miss out on if you don't have it, and how good your life is going to be when you have that relationship with that person that you want, when you have that love and connection and excitement, when you've got all that stuff going on. Your life, you know, like you've got variety in your life. As I've said before, you've got to have it. You've got to have love and connection. And now, when I have that, my life is going to be so much better. So when you get your brain, you've got to get your brain working on your side. And you've got to tell it, you've got to say, look, I know that you are doing this to keep me safe, but this is something I really need, so work with me, and just keep on telling your brain over and over and over and over how much enjoyment, how much fulfillment, how much love and connection you are going to get, and the ecstasy and excitement and adventure that you're going to get. So eventually your brain comes across, Just write it all down. And the next thing we have to do is we have to do a pattern interrupt, because we worked out what our pattern is. And our pattern is going to ask this girl out, and what happens? You go up there, get close to her, start choking up, can't think of a thing to say, and you think, it's all fallen to bits. That is the pattern. So what you've got to do is then you start making excuses and get out. So you have to interrupt that pattern. And the way to interrupt it is to make it so ridiculous, so outrageous, so ludicrous, and even so hilarious. You've got to interrupt that pattern. That's what you've got to do. You've got to make it, and you see yourself. When you would go up there and you start choking up, then you can make up a cartoon in your head, doing real silly stuff, and just take all the lightness of it, and that interrupts your brain, because your brain, you're doing this stuff, but you're having a good time. Your brain thinks you are, but you're in charge now. You've taken charge of your brain, and you're doing all this ridiculous, outrageous, hilarious stuff. That interrupts the pattern. And so you just got to create as much of that as you can. And the key to do something is like that the brain doesn't expect, and that's what you're doing. You're acting way out of character, like for how you feel. So that is how you interrupt it. And what that does, it totally fries the old pattern, because once, like the visuals that you're going through, the cartoons that you're running through your head, you run them through fast, and you get, you might be talking like a duck, you might be, I don't know, just laughing, carrying on, absolutely ridiculous, even though you're going through pain, but you have distorted your brain, you have broken that pattern, and then what you've got to do is you have to install a new one. And what you've got to replace that, like you've got to replace that old feeling of, not being good enough. Maybe you just use it the polar opposite, and say, yes, I am good enough. And you get that good feeling, and you instill. Then you make that film of all the good vibes, all the beautiful things that are happening. You run that over and over and over and over and over. Going up there, meeting that girl, yes, she likes you, you're connecting, the sparks flying, zip, zip, and everybody's feeling you and her. There's stuff happening, like you feel like you've known each other for years. The connection is so great, and that is the movie that you run in your head. You get to the end, you run it again, and you just repeat it over and over. All the pleasure and all the feeling and all the excitement that you feel, and feel it in your core. And that is how you overcome procrastination. Just remember that you are in charge. You have to let your brain know, yes, I'm here. We've got to work together. We have to work together. But you, me, I have to step up and take charge first and let my brain know, because if I don't, my brain says, Robbie, I'm just saving you from pain. But you say, no, brain, I appreciate it, but that pain you're saving me from is nothing compared to the pain that I will feel if I do not break this pattern now, if I do not stand up and plant my flag and go for what I want. If I don't do that, the pain is going to be 10 times worse than what I've got to go through, and the pleasure that I am going to feel that if I do go through, that pleasure is just going to rock me for the rest of my life. And so, that is it. We have used the Self-Sabotage Eliminator. And like it takes practice. It's like any time in the gym. If you want muscles like these, can't even get them up there. If you want muscles like them, you've got to do a lot of reps. You've got to do it. So it takes practice. Just do it, keep doing it, and keep feeding your head. Keep feeding your head full of that stuff, and your brain is fried and you're back on track. And hey, you got what you want. And when you do, when you step up, you just remember a time in your life when you actually did that, when you stepped up, when you believed in yourself and you went after what it was that you wanted and you got it. And how did you feel? How did you feel? Go back there, feel that, because that is the feeling that you need. And you can access that anytime. The feeling that you need, when you want to step up and claim a better life. So it's the agent for change, Captain Confidence, running out of sunlight, but oh gee whiz, I had a great time making this, and I hope you got some value. Hope it made sense to you. If you did, if you got some value, then I would like you to leave some comments there. Any questions, comments, concerns, just leave them there in the chat, or you can call or text me on 0419 436 859. You can email me at robcummins1@live.com.au, and I will see you again next time. I think we might do a belief change, but just remember, get rid of that old pattern, identify it, smash it, set yourself up with a new pattern, because you were doing unresourceful, set yourself up with a resourceful pattern, run it over, practice, 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 and practice you going through, like any time that you're feeling anxious, then you can also just say you might have to go to hospital and you're worried something might, you're worried about stuff you don't even know whether it's going to be bad or not, but what you do is you envision going up there and you see yourself going to the end of that appointment or the end of that interview or whatever it is and having a great outcome. You see yourself absolutely shining in that light, and that's it. Captain Confidence saying, go forth, get more confident, work on your brain, get your brain to work for you, and you will be even more confident. Yes, and have a great Saturday night. Thank you, thank you, thank you.